Acrobat, 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 noun one who performs gymnastic feats or exercises. Adriatic, 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 adjective of, or relating to the sea that lies east of Italy. Ahead, 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 adverb farther in the direction in which a person or thing is going. Ahoy, 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 interjection, used in greeting or beckoning by calling to. Ajar, 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 adverb slightly open. Albatross, 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 noun any of a number of large web-footed seabirds that are related to the petrels, and that include the largest of the seabirds, being capable of long-continued flight, and appearing often at great distances from land, chiefly over southern seas. Alfalfa, 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 noun an important leguminous forage plant grown widely and principally for hay, and adapted to widely varying conditions of climate and soil. Almanac, 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 noun a publication containing statistical, tabular and general information related to a given calendar period, usually a year. Amicable, 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 adjective characterized by friendship and goodwill. Ancestral, 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 adjective of, or belonging to one or more persons from whom one is descended. Anguish, 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 noun extreme pain or distress. Anonymously, 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 adverb in a manner that is of unknown or unnamed source or origin. Answer, 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 noun something spoken or written in reply, a response to a question, call, summons, or appeal. Apocalypse, 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 noun something with the quality of a revelation by prophecy. Appointment, 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 noun an arrangement for a meeting, engagement. Archipelago, 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 noun a group or cluster of islands. Aristocracy, 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 noun an upper class usually made up of a hereditary nobility. Aroma, 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 noun any smell or odor. Artifacts or artifacts, artifacts or artifacts, artifacts or artifacts, plural, noun usually simple objects showing human workmanship or modification as distinguished from natural objects, especially objects remaining from a particular period. Asleep, 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 adjective lacking sensation or feeling numb. Asphalt, 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 noun a mixture of gravel, sand and petroleum products that is used for pavement. Assignment, 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 noun a specified amount of work or a definite task or mission prescribed by authority or undertaken as though so prescribed. Atrium, 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 noun a large central room with other rooms opening from it. Attacked, 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 verb began to injure, damage, or eat. Au revoir, au revoir, au revoir, noun goodbye. Aubusson, 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 noun a tapestry woven originally in the 16th century, noted for its figure and scenic designs, and used for wall hangings and upholstery. Auxiliary, 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 adjective offering or providing help, assistance, or support especially by interaction. Avocado, 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 noun the pulpy green or purple somewhat pear-shaped edible fruit of various tropical American trees called also alligator pear. Awkward, 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 adjective lacking dexterity or skill especially in the use of the hands, or of instruments, clumsy. Baffling, 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 adjective perplexing, confusing. Bait, 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 noun an enticement used to attract fish or other animals as to a hook or trap, so that they can be caught. Baklava, 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 noun a dessert made of thin pastry layered with nuts and honey. Barrette, 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 noun a clip used to hold hair in place. Barricade, 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 noun an object or objects placed so as to prevent entry or passage. Basil, 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 noun the dried or fresh leaves of an aromatic of the mint family, that is used especially as a seasoning. Baskets, 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 plural, noun lightweight containers in which berries, fruits, or vegetables are packed, shipped or sold. Battlements, 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 plural, noun parapets that consist of alternate solid parts and open spaces, that is used in fortified buildings for defense. Bayonet, 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 noun a steel blade, made to be attached to the muzzle end of a type of firearm, that is fired while braced against the shoulder. Beautician, 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 noun someone who is trained to style hair or give beauty treatments. Before, 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 adverb earlier than. Begrudge, 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 verb to look upon or acknowledge with reluctance, hesitation, or disapproval. Beige, 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 adjective of a variable color averaging light grayish yellowish brown. Belfry, 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 noun a bell tower. Berlin, 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 geographical entry city comprising a state of Germany, capital of Germany on the Spree River. Billowed, 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 verb rose or rolled in waves or surges, surged, undulated. Blossoms, 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 plural, noun the usually colorful flowers of a seed plant. boll weevil, noun a grayish snout beetle about a quarter-inch long that infests the cotton plant, puncturing and laying its eggs in the squares and pods or capsules, the larvae living in and feeding on the interior substance of the buds and pods or capsules, and doing great damage to developing cotton. Bombarded verb attacked vigorously or persistently as with questions or petitions. Boulangerie, noun a bakery that specializes in bread, and especially in French-style breads. Boutique, noun a small retail store, especially a specialty shop dealing in ladies' fashionable ready-to-wear clothes and accessories. Bracken, noun a large coarse fern. Brandished, verb shook or waved a weapon menacingly. Breakfast, noun the first meal of the day. Brilliant, adjective showing great intelligence, originality, or resourcefulness. Bronchitis, noun acute or chronic inflammation of either of the two primary divisions of the trachea that lead respectively into the right and the left lung. Brown, adjective of a color between red and yellow in hue, of medium to low lightness, and of moderate to low saturation. Bucket, noun a typically round and wooden vessel for drawing up water from a well. Buffalo, geographical entry city and port on Lake Erie and the Niagara River in western New York. Bulletin, noun a brief public notice concerning a matter of marked current interest, and usually issuing from an authoritative source. Burpees, plural noun conditioning exercises in which a person repeats a sequence of squats, push-ups, and vertical jumps. Bursitis, noun inflammation of a fluid-filled cavity in a joint of the body. Cadre, noun a nucleus or core group especially of trained personnel, or active members of an organization, who are capable of assuming leadership or of training and indoctrinating others. Cajolery, noun the act or practice of alluring or inducing by soft words or flattery. Campaign, noun a period of activity, usually continuous, and often competitive especially in any seasonal occupation or industry. Camphor, noun a tough gum-like substance obtained especially from the wood and bark of a tree of the same name, and used as a stimulant in medicine, and as an insect repellent. Candy, noun a sweet food made with sugar and often flavoring such as chocolate and filling. Cannelloni, noun tubes especially of pasta filled with a savory stuffing as of meat. Careened, verb swayed from side to side lurched. Cartwheel, noun a sideways handspring with arms and legs extended. Cavorting, verb bounding, prancing, or frisking about. Chance, noun opportunity. Chandelier, noun a lighting fixture suspended from the ceiling and having two or more usually upcurving arms bearing lights, originally candles, or two or more hanging lights. Charolais or Charolais, noun a breed of large white cattle developed in France for draft purposes, but now kept chiefly as a beef breed and important for crossbreeding. Chartreuse, noun a variable color averaging a brilliant yellow-green. Chassis, noun the frame upon which is mounted the body as of an automobile or airplane. Chignon, noun a smooth knot, twist, or arrangement of hair worn at the back of the head especially at the nape of the neck. Chimneys, plural noun vertical structures incorporated into a building, and enclosing flues that carry off smoke or other undesirable fumes or gases. Chlorine, noun a common non-metallic element best known as a heavy greenish irritating toxic gas of disagreeable odor, and used chiefly as a powerful bleaching, oxidizing, and disinfecting agent in water purification. Chocolate, noun a small candy with a center as of fondant, nougat, or nut and a coating of a food obtained by grinding roasted cacao beans that have been freed from germ and shell. Circus, singular, noun a spectacular public entertainment, given usually in a large tent, and made up of acts of physical skill and daring and comedy by clowns. Close, verb to block or shut off against entry or passage. Cluster, noun a number of similar things grouped together. Colossus, noun one marked by great size, strength or power, and able to dwarf or dominate others. Comfy, adjective giving or promising physical ease, pleasurable feeling, or cheerful well-being. Commotion, noun noisy confusion. Compassionate, compassionate, compassionate adjective marked by a ready inclination to pity, sympathy, or tenderness. Compunction, compunction, compunction noun remorse, reluctance, misgiving. Comrades, comrades, comrades plural noun very close friends, companions. Concierge, concierge, concierge noun an attendant at the entrance of a building, a doorkeeper. Confrères, confrères, confrères plural noun colleagues, fellow workers as in a profession, or in a field of study. Conical, conical, conical adjective resembling, or having the shape of a solid bounded by a circular or other closed plane base, and the surface formed by line segments joining every point of the boundary of the base to a common vertex. Conjure, conjure, conjure verb to bring into reality as if by magic. Conscience, conscience, conscience noun the sense of right or wrong within an individual. Contentious, contentious, contentious adjective marked by a wearisome tendency to disputes. Convulsively, convulsively, convulsively adverb in a manner producing or accompanied by an unnatural, violent, and involuntary contraction or series of contractions of the muscles. Coral, coral, coral adjective of a variable color averaging a deep pink with yellow. Corbels, corbels, corbels plural noun architectural elements which project from within a wall and support a superincumbent weight, especially ones that are stepped upward and outward from a vertical surface. Cosmetics, cosmetics, cosmetics plural noun preparations to be applied to the human body for beautifying, preserving or altering the appearance of a person or for cleansing, coloring, conditioning, or protecting the skin, hair, nails, lips, eyes or teeth. Countess, countess, countess noun a woman who holds in her own right the rank of earl, or a corresponding rank. Courier, courier, courier noun one who carries messages, news, or information either with urgent haste or in accordance with a regular schedule. Courtyard, courtyard, courtyard noun an enclosure attached to a house, castle, palace or other building. Cozy or cozy, cozy or cozy, cozy or cozy adjective suggesting warmth and homey ease often within smallish or compact quarters. Cravenly, cravenly, cravenly adverb in a manner lacking even the rudiments of courage, contemptibly faint-heartedly. Crawdad, crawdad, crawdad noun any of numerous freshwater crustaceans resembling the lobster, but usually much smaller in size. Crematorium, crematorium, crematorium noun a building containing a furnace for reducing the bodies of the dead to ashes by the action of fire either directly or in an oven or retort. Crowd, crowd, crowd noun a large number of people especially when condensed into a compact group without order. Curious, curious, curious adjective showing interest in finding or searching out information. Cycads, cycads, cycads plural noun any plants abundant in the Mesozoic, but now reduced to a few localized and widely scattered tropical forms that have an unbranched trunk, which is tall and arborescent or squat and tuberous with a large pith and starchy cortex, and that bears a terminal crown of long pinnate leaves together with one or more very large cones. Cylinders, cylinders, cylinders plural noun objects or forms having flat circular ends and straight sides. Dangerous, dangerous, dangerous adjective involving risk demanding caution or care as extremely unsafe. Deck, deck, deck noun a flat structure that is built next to a house and that has no roof or walls. Deferential, deferential, deferential adjective showing courteous or ingratiating regard for another's wishes. Deflated, deflated, deflated verb released air or gas from. Delphine, delphine, delphine adjective of, or relating to any of various small marine toothed whales that have the snout more or less elongated into a beak and the neck vertebrae partially fused. Democracy, democracy, democracy noun a government by the people rule of the majority. Depots, depots, depots plural noun bus stations. Dexterity, dexterity, dexterity noun skill, and ease in using the hands. Dictatorship, dictatorship, dictatorship noun a form of government in which a chief magistrate or small clique has absolute power without effective constitutional limitations. Dignitaries, dignitaries, dignitaries plural noun those who possess exalted rank or hold a position of high regard or honor. Dimensional, dimensional, dimensional adjective of or relating to magnitude and size. Dinosaur, dinosaur, dinosaur noun a member of a group of extinct reptiles. Diphtheria, diphtheria, diphtheria noun a contagious disease in children that causes a sore, swollen throat. Dirge, dirge, dirge noun a song or hymn expressing grief or a solemn sense of loss especially to accompany funeral or memorial rites. Disability, disability, disability noun a physical or mental illness, injury, or condition that incapacitates in any way. Discipline, 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 noun, a subject that is taught, a branch of learning, a field of study. Discoveries, 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 plural, noun, acts or instances of finding or finding out. Dismissal, 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 noun, the fact or state of being removed from employment, enrollment, position or office. Dissolving, 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 verb causing to disperse or disappear, getting rid of. Distress, 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 noun, pain, suffering, anguish of body or mind. Dollop, 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 noun, a lump or blob of something semi-liquid or mushy. Draw, 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 verb to make lines with a pen, a pencil, or another tool in order to create a picture. Dubious, 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 adjective questionable as to value, quality, origin, or character, open to question. Dulce, 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 noun, sweetmeat, candy used in the Southwest. Eaten, 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 adjective taken in through the mouth as food. Ebony, 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 adjective of very low lightness, black, dark, used of color. Eccentric, 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 adjective peculiar or strange. Elephant, 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 noun, any of a family of thick-set, extremely large, nearly hairless herbivorous mammals that have a snout elongated into a muscular trunk and two incisors in the upper jaw developed especially in the male into large ivory tusks. Emphatically, 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 adverb in an insistent manner. Emporium, 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 noun, a large business or store. Encourages, 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 verb inspires with mental or moral strength, spirit or hope. Enormous, 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 adjective marked by extraordinarily great size, number, degree or significance. Ensemble, 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 noun, a group of supporting players, or the chorus. Enthusiastic, 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 adjective having an ardent, receptive, responsive temperament. Equations, 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 plural, noun, statements of equivalence between two mathematical expressions such as numbers, functions, magnitudes, operations, the sign equals usually being placed between them. Equestrian, 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 adjective related to horseback riding. Erie, 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 geographical entry, a city and port on a lake in east-central North America on the boundary between the U.S. and Canada. One of the Great Lakes. Especially, 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 adverb in particular, particularly. Etc., 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 noun. And others especially of the same kind, and so on and so forth. Everest, 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 geographical entry, the highest point, climax, apex. Exuberant, 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 adjective joyously unrestrained and enthusiastic. Fabulous, 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 adjective outstanding or remarkable especially in some acceptable or pleasing quality. Faint, 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 adjective feeble, dizzy, and likely to pass out due to hunger, illness, pain, shock or emotion. Far away, far away, far away, adjective distant in space. Farmer, 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 noun, a person who grows crops such as fruits or vegetables, or raises livestock such as cows or pigs. February, 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 noun, the second month of the Gregorian calendar. Fiberglass, 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 noun, glass in fibrous form used in making various products. Fish, 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 noun, a cold-blooded animal that lives in the water and that has a spine, gills, and usually fins. Fissures, 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 plural, noun, narrow openings, chasms, or cracks of some length and considerable depth usually occurring from some breaking, rending, or parting. Fluently, 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 adverb in a manner that is easy and flowing, pleasingly graceful. Focus, 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 verb to concentrate attention or effort. Foreign, 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 adjective born in, belonging to, derived from, intended for, or characteristic of some place or country as nation other than the one under consideration, not native or domestic. Forepaw, 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 noun, the foot of a quadruped on a front leg. Foreseeable, 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 adjective lying within range for which forecasts are possible. Forest, 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 noun, a large area of land covered with lots of trees, shrubs, and bushes. Formation, 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 noun, a group of troops arranged in a particular order. Formidable, 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 adjective tending to inspire awe or wonder usually by reason of notable size, quantity, superiority, or excellence. Fragments, 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 plural, noun, parts broken off, imperfect or incomplete parts. Fraidycat, 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 noun, one that is timid or easily frightened. Frankenstein, 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 noun, a work or agency that proves troublesomely uncontrollable especially to its creator. Especially one that ultimately destroys or ruins its creator. Fräulein, 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 noun, a usually young unmarried woman, especially of Germany. Fruit, 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 noun, the reproductive body of a seed plant having an edible more or less sweet pulp associated with the seed. Frustration, 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 noun, something that induces feelings of discouragement. Fugitive, 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 noun, one who tries to escape justice. Galleon, 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 noun, a heavy chiefly square-rigged sailing ship of the 15th to early 18th centuries used for war or commerce, especially by the Spanish. Gallop, 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 noun, the natural three-beat gait of a horse. Galore, 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 adjective, abundant, plentiful, profuse. Gangly, 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 adjective, having a spindling or awkwardly long growth, loosely built, lanky. Garbage, 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 noun, trash of any kind. Garbled, 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 verb mixed up through accident or ignorance. Garishly, 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 adverb, in a manner that is tastelessly showy and over-decorated, flamboyant. Gaunt, 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 adjective, thin and angular, attenuated especially by fasting or suffering. Geranium, 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 noun, any of a widely distributed genus of plants having regular flowers without spurs, and with glands that alternate with the petals. Giant, 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 adjective, extremely large. Gingham, 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 noun, a clothing fabric usually of yarn-dyed cotton and plain weave made in solid colors, checks, plaids, and stripes. Gleaned, 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 verb picked up, or scraped together in piecemeal fashion, acquired bit by bit from some source. Goats, 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 plural, noun, agile hollow-horned ruminant mammals long domesticated for their milk, wool, and flesh. Gorgeous, 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 adjective, dazzlingly beautiful or attractive. Graffitous, 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 noun, one who makes an inspection, figure, or design scratched on rocks or walls or on artifacts made of plaster, stone, or clay. Grimace, 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 noun, a deliberate or involuntary distortion of the face expressive of some feeling as contempt or disapprobation. Gusto, 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 noun, vitality marked by an overabundance of healthy positive, and often unrefined vigor and enthusiasm. Guttural, 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 adjective, being a speech sound that is formed in the throat. Gyroplane, 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 noun, a fixed-wing aircraft balanced and supported by the aerodynamic forces acting on rapidly rotating horizontal or slightly inclined planes. Heater, 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 noun, a device that gives off warmth. Hedgehog, 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 noun, any of several nocturnal insectivorous mammals that have hair mixed with prickles or spines and are able to roll themselves up so as to present the spines outwardly in every direction. Heron, 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 noun, a wading bird that has a long neck and legs, a long tapering bill with a sharp point and sharp cutting edges, large wings and soft plumage. Hesitate, 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 verb to delay or pause, typically for a moment. Hibiscus, 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 noun, any plant or flower of a large widely distributed genus of herbs, shrubs or small trees with dentate or lobed leaves and large showy flowers. Hippies, 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 plural, noun, usually young people who reject the mores of established society and adhere to a nonviolent ethic. Hockey, 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 noun, a game played on an ice rink by two teams of 6 players on skates whose object is to direct a puck into the opponent's goal with a curved stick. Hoist, 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 verb to raise, to lift. Hold, 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 verb to keep back, to not lose, to not let go. Hollow, 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 adjective, having an empty space or cavity within, not solid. Hors d'oeuvres, hors d'oeuvres, hors d'oeuvres, plural, noun, any of various savory foods usually served as appetizers at the beginning of a meal. Hyperventilated, 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 verb underwent excessive rate and depth of respiration, leading to abnormal loss of carbon dioxide from the blood. Hypnosis, 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 noun, a trance-like state that resembles sleep, but is induced by a person whose suggestions are readily accepted by the subject. Hypocritical, 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 adjective of or relating to the act or practice of pretending to be what one is not or to have principles or beliefs that one does not have. Imitation, 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 noun, an artificial likeness, counterfeit. Immigrants, 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 plural, noun, persons that come to a country for the purpose of permanent residence. Incredible, 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 adjective, hard to believe, real or true, unlikely, improbable. Insects, 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 plural, noun, small invertebrate animals that are more or less obviously segmented, such as spiders, mites, ticks, centipedes, sobugs. Invincible, 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 adjective, incapable of being vanquished or subjugated, impervious to attack or conquest. Jangle, 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 verb to cause to sound harshly or inharmoniously. Jeered, jeered, jeered. Verb spoke or cried out with derision or mockery. Journey, journey, journey. Noun an act of traveling from one place to another. Junket, junket, junket. Noun a pleasure trip or tour made by an official at public expense ostensibly for purposes of inspection, investigation, or other public business. Khaki, khaki, khaki. Noun a durable cotton or woolen cloth used for military uniforms. Kilimanjaro, Kilimanjaro, Kilimanjaro. Geographical name of volcanic mountain in Tanzania near the border of Kenya, whose central peak is the highest point in Africa. Kitchen, kitchen, kitchen. Noun a place such as a room with cooking facilities. Laborious, laborious, laborious. Adjective involving or characterized by hard or toilsome effort or by careful and detailed development. Lacrosse, lacrosse, lacrosse. Noun a game played with 2 teams of 10 players, each with each player using a long-handled stick to catch and throw a ball, and with the object being to throw the ball into the opponent's goal. Language, language, language. Noun the words, their pronunciation, and the methods of combining them used and understood by a considerable community and established by long usage. Lanky, lanky, lanky. Adjective tall, somewhat thin, and usually loose-jointed. Lanyards, lanyards, lanyards. Plural noun cords worn around the neck by sailors to which is usually attached a knife. Lasagna, lasagna, lasagna. Noun a baked dish containing layers of boiled pasta ribbons, cheese, a seasoned sauce of tomatoes, and meat or vegetables. Latticework, latticework, latticework. Noun an assemblage of structures of wood or metal made by crossing thin strips, so as to form a network. Leaning, leaning, leaning. Verb casting one's weight by inclining or bearing down to one side. Leather, leather, leather. Noun the skin of an animal tanned or otherwise dressed for use to render it relatively soft and flexible when dry. Lessons, lessons, lessons. Plural noun classes taught on a single subject. Lilt, lilt, lilt. Noun a rhythmical swing, flow, or cadence. Limbs, limbs, limbs. Plural noun legs or arms of a human being. Lo mein, lo mein, lo mein. Noun a Chinese dish consisting of sliced vegetables, soft noodles, and usually meat or shrimp in bite-sized pieces stir-fried in a seasoned sauce. Lunacy, lunacy, lunacy. Noun wild foolishness, extravagant folly. Lurches, lurches, lurches. Verb moves unsteadily or in a series of stops and starts staggers. Lure, lure, lure. Verb to attract, to entice. Lie, lie, lie. Noun a strong alkaline liquor that contains chiefly potassium carbonate obtained by leaching wood ashes with water, and that has been used especially in soap making and washing. Magnanimous, magnanimous, magnanimous. Adjective having, showing or suggesting nobility of feeling and generosity of mind. Maitre d', maitre d', maitre d'. Noun the head of the dining room staff of a restaurant or hotel. Mango, mango, mango. Noun a yellowish red oblong to pear-shaped tropical fruit that has a firm skin and hard central stone. Manticores, manticores, manticores. Plural noun legendary animals having the head of a man often with the horns, the body of a lion, and the tail of a dragon or scorpion. Maquisards, maquisards, maquisards. Plural noun French guerrilla fighters in World War II resisting the Nazis. Maracas, maracas, maracas. Plural noun rattles of Latin American origin that are often made from a hollow gourd containing pebbles or dried seeds, and that are used as a percussion instrument usually in pairs. Marauder, marauder, marauder. Noun one who roams about and makes irregular sudden small-scale attacks, raids, or incursions for the sake of obtaining loot. Marquis, marquis, marquis. Adjective having the star power of someone who is famous. Mascot, mascot, mascot. Noun something regarded as a cherished emblem or symbol as of a group or institution. Melon, melon, melon. Noun either of 2 soft-fleshed sweet-flavored gourds that are usually eaten raw as a fruit. Memoirs, memoirs, memoirs. Plural noun histories or narratives composed from or stressing personal experience and acquaintance with the events, scenes, or persons described. Mercantile, mercantile, mercantile. Adjective of or relating to merchants or trading appropriate to or characteristic of merchants engaged in trade. Mermaid, mermaid, mermaid. Noun an imaginary sea creature usually represented as having the upper body of a woman, and the lower part like the tail of a fish. Message, message, message. Noun a written or oral communication or other transmitted information sent by messenger or by some other means as by signals. Milk, milk, milk. Noun a white or yellowish fluid produced by female mammals for the nourishment of their young. Mind, mind, mind. Verb to become concerned or troubled, to care, worry. Miniature, miniature, miniature. Adjective being or represented on a small scale. Minnows, minnows, minnows. Plural noun small fish common in gravelly streams and attaining a length of about 3 inches maximum. Misanthrope, noun one who hates or despises mankind. Moment, noun a point of time and instant. Monsieur, noun Mr. Monsoon, noun the season of heavy rainfall in India and adjacent countries. Mosque, noun a building used for public worship by Muslims. Mustache, noun the hair growing on a man's or a woman's upper lip, or that on either side of the upper lip. Muffler, noun any of various devices to deaden the noise of escaping gases or vapor. Mulberry, noun the edible usually dark purple fruit of a tree of the same name. Mysterious, adjective difficult or impossible to understand, obscure. Nautical, adjective of relating to or associated with sailors, navigation or ships. Narrow, adjective having a long narrow cut, and a mandarin collar usually used of a jacket. Neon, adjective extremely bright in color. Nervous, adjective fearful of what may be coming. Noggin, noun a person's head. Nomad, noun a member of a people that has no fixed residence but wanders from place to place usually seasonally. Nomination, noun an act or right of designating by name for an office or duty appointment. Oblivion, noun the quality or state of being forgotten. Officially, adverb with formal authorization formally. Ominous, adjective indicative of future misfortune or calamity causing anxiety and fear. Onslaught, noun an especially fierce attack. Opalescent, adjective having a colored smooth surface that gives the effect of cloudiness and diffusion, due to the intentional presence of fissures, striae, and bubbles. Opportunist, noun one who practices taking advantage of circumstances, especially with little regard for principles or ultimate consequences. Ostracism, noun exclusion from common privileges or social acceptance. Oswego, geographical entry city on Lake Ontario in northern New York. Paltry, adjective inferior, trashy, worthless. Paparazzi, plural noun freelance photographers who aggressively pursue celebrities in order to take candid photographs. Parachute, noun a folding umbrella-shaped device made of light fabric and used for making a safe descent from an airplane, dropping equipment or supplies from an airplane, or slowing down an airplane upon landing. Parchment, noun a thin sheet of a type of paper made for recording writing. Parent, noun a father or mother or one who acts as such. Paste, verb to stick things together using a substance made for this purpose. Patisserie, noun a shop that sells French pastry. Patriarchs, plural noun men regarded as fathers or founders as of a race, science, religion or class of people. Pediatric, adjective of, or relating to the care and medical treatment of children. Peppercorn, noun a dried berry of a plant of the genus Piper. Perfume, noun a fluid containing essences of flowers or synthetics, which is used for its scent. Peroxide, noun a binary compound containing a relatively high proportion of oxygen. Pheromone, noun a chemical substance that is produced by an animal and serves as a specific stimulus to other individuals of the same species for one or more behavioral responses. Piccolo, noun a small shrill flute pitched an octave higher than the ordinary flute. Pinioning, verb disabling or restraining by binding the arms usually to the body. Pirates, plural noun robbers on the high seas. Pistachio, noun the edible green seed of a small tree of southern Europe and Asia Minor. Pizzeria, noun an establishment where usually large open pies typically of thinly rolled dough spread with a spice mixture are made, baked, and sold. Plaid, adjective having a crossbarred multicolored pattern. Plaited, adjective braided interwoven. Plausible, adjective superficially worthy of belief, credible. Pogrom, noun an organized massacre and looting of helpless people usually with the connivance of officials, specifically such a massacre of Jews. Pond, noun a body of water that is smaller than a lake but larger than a pool, and that either occurs naturally or is confined through man-made means. Porridge, 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 noun, a soft food of legumes or grains that are boiled in water or milk until they are thick. Prattling, 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 verb, talking or saying much and idly. Preamble, 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 noun, a preface or introductory part as to a written work. Precocious, 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 adjective manifesting at an early age some of the mental or physical characteristics usually associated with maturity. Premises, 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 plural, noun, a building and the area of land it sits on. Prestigious, 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 adjective esteemed in general opinion, honored. Proficient, 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 adjective well advanced in an art, an occupation, a skill, or a branch of knowledge. Prognosis, 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 noun, the act or art of foretelling the course of a disease. Promenade, 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 noun, a leisurely walk or ride especially in a public place for pleasure, display or exercise. Propaganda, 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 noun, the spreading of rumor, ideas or information for the purpose of either helping or injuring a person, institution, or cause. Protégé, 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 noun, one who is protected or trained or whose career is furthered by a person of experience, prominence, or influence. Pupil. Prototype, 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 noun, the first full-scale model of a new type or design of furniture, machinery, or vehicle. Psyche, 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 noun, the soul, self, or personality. Puissance, 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 noun, ability to coerce or sway, controlling influence, power. Pumpernickel, 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 noun, a sourdough bread made with rye and wheat flours. Quandary, 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 noun, a state of doubt or bewilderment, a dilemma. Quilt, 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 noun, a bed covering made of 2 layers of cloth and having a filling of wool, cotton, or down held in place by stitched designs. Raise, 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 verb to lift higher. Rakish, 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 adjective negligent of convention, or strict formality, careless, jaunty, sporty. Ramshackle, 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 adjective appearing as if ready to collapse, dilapidated, rickety. Ratify, 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 verb to make as a treaty valid or legally operative, confirm. Ration, 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 noun, the food allowance of one person or one animal for one day. Receipts, 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 plural, noun, writings acknowledging the taking or accepting of goods or money delivered or paid. Receptionist, 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 noun, one who is employed in a business or professional establishment to greet and help visitors, business callers, or patients. Recipe, 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 noun, a list of ingredients and a statement of the procedure to be followed in making an item of food or drink. Reclusive, 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 adjective marked by seclusion or retirement, solitary. Remind, 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 verb to cause to remember. Renowned, 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 adjective celebrated. Reprimanding, 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 verb chiding for a fault, censuring formally, and especially with authority. Repugnant, 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 adjective distasteful to a high degree, exciting distaste or aversion, loathsome. Residuals, 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 plural, noun, payments as to an actor or writer for each rerun, especially of a commercial. Rickety, 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 adjective weak in the joints, tottering. Riveted, 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 adjective attracted and held engrossingly as the attention. Roam, 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 verb to go from place to place without a specific purpose or direction, rove, wander. Rotunda, 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 noun, a round building. Especially one that is round both outside and inside, and is covered by a dome. Ruby, 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 noun, a valuable red gemstone. Ruefully, 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 adverb in a pitiable or woeful manner. Rummage, 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 verb to make a thorough search and look through every section of ransack. Safari, 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 noun, a hunting or other expedition in East Africa, especially on foot. Salvage, salvage, salvaged, verb rescued, or saved especially from wreckage or ruin. Samosas, 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 plural, noun, fried pastries that are stuffed with vegetables or spiced meat, and shaped like small triangles. Sans serif, sans serif, sans serif, noun, a letter or typeface with letters that have no short lines stemming from, and at an angle to the upper and lower ends of the strokes of each letter. Sardines, 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 plural, noun, any of several small or immature fishes that are suitable for preserving for food. Sarsaparilla, 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 noun, a sweetened carbonated beverage similar to root beer with the predominant flavor from birch oil and sassafras. Satin, 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 noun, a smooth fabric with a shiny front and dull back. Savant, 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 noun, a person of learning, especially one with detailed knowledge in some specialized field. Scalpel, 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 noun, a small straight knife with a thin keen blade used especially for dissecting. Scavenger 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 noun an organism that typically feeds on refuse or carrion. Schema 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 noun a diagrammatic depiction of a typical or average situation. Broadly an abridged or generalized presentation a framework of reference. Scorcher 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 noun something very hot. Scrub 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 verb to clean with a rubbing action, as if by using a stiff brush. Scrunch 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 verb to squeeze together. Scurrying 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 verb moving in, or as if in a brisk rapidly alternating step. Search 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 noun an endeavor to find, recover, or bring into view. Seep 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 verb to flow or pass slowly through fine pores or small openings to ooze. Send 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 verb to cause to go, or be conveyed to another person or place. Señor 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 noun Mr. used as a title of courtesy prefixed to the name of a Spanish or Spanish-speaking man. Sekins 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 plural noun. Serape or serape serape or serape serape or serape noun a woolen blanket, often of bright geometric patterns worn by Spanish-American men as a cloak or poncho. Sharks 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 plural noun fishes that are usually of medium or large size, and that may be active predators or sluggish bottom dwellers. Shimmer 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 verb to shine with a tremulous or fitful light to gleam faintly. Shortcut 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 noun a route more direct or more quickly traveled than the one ordinarily taken. Shouting 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 noun speaking in a loud voice. Shuffle 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 verb to slide the feet back and forth without lifting them. Signal 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 noun a sound or gesture made to give notice. Silhouette 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 noun a likeness of a person or thing showing only the outline, and that is typically filled in with black. Silver 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 noun a white metallic element that is very easy to shape, and is used to make coins, silverware, jewelry and other items. Sinister 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 adjective evil, or suggestive of evil. Sizzling 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 adjective making a hissing sound. Skater skater skater, noun one that glides along on a short board mounted on small wheels propelled by the alternate action of the legs. Skewer 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 noun a pin of wood or metal for fastening meat to keep in form while roasting or to hold small pieces of meat and vegetables for broiling. Skirt 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 noun the part of an outer garment extending from the waist down that has a free hanging lower edge. Skittish 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 adjective marked by extreme caution fearful, wary. Slime 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 noun a gluey substance. Slew 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 noun a state of moral degradation or spiritual dejection into which one sinks, or from which one cannot free oneself an engulfing depth. Sluice 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 noun a body of water pent up behind a floodgate or watergate. Snug 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 adjective at rest, warmly covered, and safe from cold. Solemnly 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 adverb in a manner marked by grave sobriety and earnest serious sedateness free from casualness or light-hearted levity. Spectators 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 plural noun people watching an exhibition such as a sports event. Spinning 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 verb revolving or whirling rapidly. Sporadic 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 adjective occurring occasionally, singly or in scattered instances. Squalor 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 noun the quality or state of being marked by filthiness and degradation, usually from neglect. Stay 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 verb to remain somewhere, or with someone instead of leaving. Steeple 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 noun a tall structure, usually composed of a series of diminishing stories finished at the top with a small spire or cupola surmounting the lower straight-sided story of a church tower. Streetlights 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 plural noun electric lamps usually mounted on poles at intervals along a public road or highway. Stretch 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 verb to reach out to extend. Stucco 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 noun a fine plaster of high quality used in the decoration and ornamentation of interior walls. Stuck 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 verb attached by, or as if by gluing or plastering. Studded 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 adjective adorned, covered, or protected with solid buttons. Substantially 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 adverb in a manner considerable in amount, value, or worth. Sugar 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 noun a sweet crystallizable substance that consists entirely or essentially of sucrose, and that is colorless or white when pure. Surprise 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 noun something unexpected or astonishing. Suspicious 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 adjective arousing, or tending to arouse the imagination or apprehension of something wrong or hurtful without proof or on slight evidence. Swaggering 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 adjective of, relating to, or having the characteristics of one who conducts oneself in an arrogant or superciliously pompous manner. Swampy 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 adjective waterlogged and poorly drained. Sweet 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 adjective marked by or arising from graciousness, kindness, or sympathy. Syndrome 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 noun a group of symptoms or signs typical of a disease, disturbance, or condition in animals or plants. Tackle 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 verb to come to grips with to take on. Taffy 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 noun a candy made usually of molasses or brown sugar boiled until caramelized and pulled until porous and light-colored. Tag 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 noun a game in which one player chases the others and tries to touch one to make them it. Tail 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 noun a thin extension of the body that comes out of the back area of many mammals. Talcum 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 noun a soft mineral that is a basic magnesium silicate and is usually whitish, greenish or grayish with a soapy feel. Tamale 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 noun ground meat seasoned with chili or other filling, rolled up in cornmeal dough, wrapped in corn husks and steamed. Tank 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 noun a large container for holding liquid. Teeth 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 plural, noun the hard bony parts attached to the jaws in the walls of the mouth, that serve especially for the seizing and chewing of food. Tender 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 adjective easily broken, cut, or hurt not hard or tough. Thesaurus 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 noun a book containing a store of words or of information about a particular field or set of concepts, specifically a dictionary of synonyms. Tight 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 adjective fitting closely and usually too closely. Tint 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 noun a usually slight or pale coloration. Toiletries 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 plural noun articles or preparations used in the process of washing, grooming and arranging oneself. Tranquilizer 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 noun a drug used to reduce anxiety and tension states or mental disturbances in people and animals. Traumatic 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 adjective of, relating to, or resulting from an injury or wound to the human body caused by the application of external force or violence. Trebuchets 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 plural noun medieval military engines designed to hurl stones and similar missiles with great force, by means of a heavy weight fastened to the short arm of a lever which raises the end of the long throwing arm with great velocity. Triple 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 adjective being 3 times as much or as great or as many. Tuberculosis tuberculosis tuberculosis, noun a communicable disease caused by a bacillus, and characterized by toxic symptoms, or allergic manifestations which in humans primarily affect the lungs. Tucson 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 geographical entry city in southeastern Arizona. Tool 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 noun a sheer and often stiffened machine-made net made with a usually hexagonal mesh and of silk, rayon, or nylon and used chiefly for veils, evening dresses or ballet costumes. Turnout 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 noun a gathering of people for a special purpose. Tuxedo 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 noun semiformal evening clothing for men consisting of a jacket, a stiff or soft pleated shirt, and usually a cummerbund. Twigs 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 plural noun small shoots or branches usually without leaves. Ultimatum ultimatum ultimatum, noun a last demand or proposal whose rejection will end negotiations and trigger an action such as force. Understand 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 verb to comprehend. Unfamiliar 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 adjective not well known strange, unaccustomed. Unicorn 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 noun an imaginary animal that has the body of a horse, the back legs of a stag, the tail of a lion and a single horn in the middle of its head. Unleash 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 verb to let loose from control or restraint. Unparalleled 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 adjective having no equal or match. Unruly 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 adjective not readily ruled, disciplined, or managed turbulent, uncontrollable. Vacuum 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 verb to remove by means of an electrical appliance for cleaning by suction. Valentine 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 noun something sent, or given especially to a sweetheart on a day of the same name. Verdict 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 noun an opinion pronounced or felt decision judgment. Vitimus 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 noun an official or legal inspection as a document, also an attested copy of a document. Vigilance 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 noun watchfulness in respect of danger or hazard. Wainscoting 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 verb lining as a wall with, or as if with boards or paneling. Want verb to desire or wish for something. Warlock 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 noun one given to black magic sorcerer, wizard. Weather noun meteorological or atmospheric condition. Wheels plural noun round frames that attach to a shaft on which they turn. Whinnying verb neighing especially in a low or gentle fashion. Whittled verb cut or shaped as a piece of wood by paring or cutting off chips from the surface of with a knife. Window, 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 noun, an opening in a wall or door that usually contains a sheet of glass and that allows light and air in and permits viewing. Winsome, 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 adjective, pleasant. Wire, 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 noun, metal in the form of a usually very flexible thread. Wooden, 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 adjective, lacking in ease, grace, charm, liveliness, lifelikeness, interest, or zest, awkward, clumsy, dry, lifeless, dull. Woozy, 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 adjective, affected with dizziness, mild nausea, or weakness. Writing, 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 adjective of, relating to, or used in or for the act or art of forming letters on a suitable medium to communicate the ideas which characters and words express. Yawn, 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 verb to take a deep breath with your mouth wide open, usually because you're bored or tired. Yiddish, 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 noun, a High German language spoken by Jews chiefly in Eastern Europe, and areas to which Jews from Eastern Europe have migrated and commonly written in Hebrew characters. Zeal, 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 noun, impassioned eagerness. Zombie-like, 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 adjective of, or relating to a person markedly strange or abnormal in mentality, appearance, or behavior. Zooming, 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 verb moving with or making a loud but low hum or buzz.